In today's video, we're drawing a Namakubi. Welcome back to a brand new video, guys. My name's Daggett, this is Daggett Designs, and today we're drawing a Namakubi. Now, a Namakubi is a Japanese severed head. Now, normally a Namakubi is drawn as a severed samurai head. However, that's the beauty of art and the neo-traditional style. We can play around with different elements and change things up. So I'm going to do something which I've seen other people do as well, but we're doing a geisha head as a Namakubi. So if you know you're going to love today's video, make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment down below letting me know what you'd like to see in future videos. Okay, let's get straight to today's video by going to the overhead. Okay everyone, welcome back to the table. So we're starting off with an A4 piece of sketch paper, a mechanical pencil for sketching our design, and I've got an eraser should we need it. So to start this one off, we're going to map out the shape of our head. Now you're going to make sure you're not going to do this too big because we're going to do a really large amount of hair and a few other detail elements to it that are going to make the design a lot bigger than intended sort of thing. So I'm going to start in this center section and I'll come slightly towards the left of my page. And I'll just start by dropping in a circular shape. Like this. That's going to be the top main portion of the head. And I'm going to bring a line around the top of the circle here and come down on this angle, pretty much straight across the front of our circle, and then angling slightly down like this. Okay. That's going to be the center line of our face, and we're going to have this one looking slightly upward. Now to draw in the side plane of the head, we're going to do a circle shape on the side of the head. This is going to basically be where the head is cut off on the side there. You're then going to draw a line that mimics the center line of your face, so that will come straight down the center of the circle here, and will come through the middle of the circle in an upward direction like this, and that's going to come across the face like so. Now from here we've got the top portion of our head. We're going to connect that down to a jaw shape. Now I'm going to have the bottom of our chin area showing, so I'm just going to cut back a little shape like this. I'll join that to the front with a curved line, just like that for the cheek area, and I'll just link that back up to the back of our circle for now. Now we are going to have this break off into a chin area, so I just want to connect that bottom part of that shape that we drew to smooth it out. I'll bring a line down this way for the front portion of the chin, and just behind our circle here will come down like that. Now once you've done this, you can start to mark out some of your other construction lines. So we're going to come down just underneath our top line here, which is like our eyebrow line there, and we're going to come just underneath it with another line that wraps around pretty much in the same way. This is going to be for our eyes. You can drop down about a halfway between there and the chin and drop in another line for your nose, where the nose will sit. And then just underneath that, drop in another line for your mouth. And on that line, you can draw some circles. So we'll do one or some ovals on either side of the center line. And we'll do the same for the portion just underneath it. And you can play around with these a little bit later on. Now from here, you can just drop in a general shape for your ear. We won't be adding any detail for our ear just yet because a lot of it will most likely be obscured. So just dropping in a basic detail for our ear like this. That's probably a little bit too high. This will likely be obscured at the top here, so I'm not worrying too much about the whole shape here, but just dropping in a general shape for your ear. Now before we start mapping out our other details, we're going to drop in a few of the facial details here. So I'm going to come up to our top line, our eyebrow line, and I'm going to drop back in towards the center line like this, and then I'll come out and down, and just before I reach our nose line there, I'll curve back in like this. And again, you can just mess around with the shape a little bit until you are happy with your shape there, and you can come to the other side of this just here. Drop in a little oval shape or a teardrop shape for your nostril. and the outer shape of your nostril as well. And again, you can just play around with the nose shape. Maybe you want it to be a little bit more curved or a little bit more pointy. That will be up to you. Now, one thing to note, I like to do their noses quite long. With a lot of these traditional style Japanese faces, they have very long expressions or very long faces in the way that they were drawn. So I like to keep the faces nice and long. For the eyebrows, we're going to come straight up from where we drew that line and then sort of flick off like this. And you want this to be nice and thick and then taper off a little bit. And for the other side, you'll just come to about here. Do the same thing, flicking up with a thick line. And then that can just flick back like that. Now for drawing in the actual eye, I like to come up from where our nostril shape ended, like this. Just with a little line. And that'll give you a good indication roughly of where to start your actual eye shape. So I like to come up from there, creating this little bump, and then coming down towards our line again, like this. And then you can come up and down for your eye shape, like that. We can add in a little curve for our top sort of eyelid section. And then whatever little wrinkles and creases you want to add in underneath the eye, you can do that now. And in this case, we're doing a geisha, so I just add a few little flicks in for eyelashes. And inside the eye, you can just drop in a little circle for an iris, and in the center of that, a little circle for a pupil. And of course, leaving highlights if you'd like to. And now you're pretty much mimicking this shape on the other side of your face. Now, one thing I want to point out here as well is that this is a severed head. So the idea is not to get really perfect shapes here with your eyes and that. The idea of it is for it to look, how do I put it? You know, it's to look like it's decaying a little bit. So a lot of the time they do these Namakubi designs, the skin is slightly blue, the eyes look very wrinkled or very, tortured. And this is to give them that look because they're slightly decayed or slightly, they're damaged. Now to draw in the basic shape for your lips, we're pretty much just following our little circles or ovals that we drew. So coming out for this one, and then coming up and dipping in the center, coming back out, and then coming back just down to the line basically, like this. And for the inside of that, I like to just put this little V shape in the middle and then cut my line back like that. And for the bottom lip, you're basically doing the same thing, just coming out, following the shape of your circles, and coming back to the line there. On the inside of this, I like to just come out with a couple of small lines like that. Now to draw the outside portion of the face, we can come up from where our eye starts, come out slightly for the eyebrow section, and then follow the shape of our head up and around like that. And then for our cheek portion, we're basically going to come out slightly like this. And then we can come in just underneath the mouth sort of section. And then follow our chin shape down and around into our neck. And then just come around, leave a little split here. And follow a line around the chin like that. So that'll define the chin whilst connecting it into the neck for that portion there. Now at this point, I just want to add in the sort of torn section at the bottom of the neck here. So I'll bring a line out from where our neck stops here. And then you're just going to add in these jagged lines that are going to represent like the torn flesh area. But we're going to come around from the back of the head with a loop that's going to end just above our ear. So coming around like that with a little loop. And from that point, we're going to come up just above the curve of the head here, the cutoff point of the head there. You can bring a line out and around to that point, and you'll need to play around with the size and the curve direction of that line. Come around just like this. we're going to create a curve across the top of our forehead here. Just coming up to the center and back down. That's going to be basically our hairline. And then we're going to create this large sort of tuft of hair that comes from the front here. It's going to come up and back. And it'll pretty much go around the top of the head until it connects back into this circular shape here, this curve shape here. Just like that. On the other side of the head, you want to sort of mimic what this would look like. So you just can come out from here and maybe down to the cheek area. Now behind all of this, we're going to do another big curl of hair. This is the part that's going to be sort of tied back. I'm going to come back to like just in front of the center line here. And I'll come up and around, and I want it to come to about this point here. Like this. And I want that to have a loop at the end as well. So just bring a little loop around and back into the rest of the hair. And from here, I'll throw in another loop of hair at the back here because this is sort of looking a little bit empty. So I'll come in from behind the neck with a little loop. And I'll just bring a line around. So this will be the same as the piece we did in front of it. So to go ahead and add in our wispy hairs, we're just doing little S curves basically. So I'll start with coming off this section of the hair here and adding in some little S curves for these wispy little hairs just coming from that section. I'll do some in front of the ear. This will be like where the sideburn area would be. So you can add in some wispy hairs. And I think it's important to make these Nanakubi characters look a bit messy. So I like to do a lot of these wispy hairs coming around the face and that sort of thing. I'll come down from behind the ear as well with some flowing wispy hair like this. And I can come around from the side of our face here, the cheek area. We'll have some coming off this area of the face at the side. And you can pretty much just figure out where you want them to be and add in as much or as little of these wispy hairs as you'd like. Now once you've done all of your wispy hairs, you can go ahead and add in your actual hair for the large sort of bulges of hair, the mounds of hair there. And you're pretty much just going to do little lines following the curvature. So we'll start with this section here. It's curving around and to the front here. So I'm just going to bring lines that curve around and to the front. And you try and keep these lines really close together. I try to get as many little lines in there as I can. Not too many, but you want to sort of make them nice and close together so it resembles hair. And on the inside of a loop, you're going to go the opposite direction, following the base curve here. So just coming back in this direction, which is the opposite way to your other curves. And you're pretty much going to go through and complete all of your hair sections using that method of just adding these little lines that all follow the curvature of your hair bundles. Alright, now before you go ahead and put all the effort into doing this bundle of hair, we've got to put in the headpiece and a few of our hairpins as well. So we're going to do that by coming up from the front of this bundle here. This will be the hairpiece or the pin that is separating the front and the back portion of hair. And I'll bring that to around here as well. And then you can connect those two with a curved line across like this. And I like to split this up into 3 sections, 1, 2, 3, like this, just for some sort of detail. You could of course add whatever pattern work or something you would like to that. And then to do your hairpins, you're basically going to do 2 lines that taper outward. So we'll start one here. They're going to come outward from each other like this. You're going to add 2 little shoulders at the top just by rounding them off. And then you'll come out from there with a little curved bit that comes off to the side like this. And then on the center of that, you can draw a straight line down with a little circle at the end, like that. And that's basically how you're going to do your hairpins. Now I do want to mention as well that there are lots of different types and styles of these hairpins, and a lot of the time they are like ornamental. So in this case, you can either leave them nice and simple, or you can play around with them a little bit. So I'll add like a little circle to this one, and then have the other end of the hairpin coming out in like a fan shape. And you can play around with the ends of your hairpins, adding flowers and different shapes to them to make them slightly more ornamental and a little bit prettier. Once you've added in your hairpins, of course, you can go ahead and finish off the rest of your hair detail. Okay, once you've drawn in your geisha head, we can go ahead and add in another element. In this case, I'd like to add in a dagger. So we're going to take our ruler here just so we can get a nice straight even line. And I want to come through on the side from where the cheek is here and maybe come out from the back portion of the neck. So I'm just going to draw in a line like that. It's going to stop where the cheek is and come back out from here. And I want to make a line that's equal to this, like runs parallel to it. So I'll just bring a line up like this, come out here, and I'll end this one a little bit early. Okay, now at this point we're looking at the part that ended early here. I'm going to attach it or connect it with a little curve line like that. And then we can go ahead and add in a skin rip. In this case, you're just adding in more rough skin texture and looping it back around like that. Very straightforward. And then we can come down the center of our dagger here to about there. Split a line off to that point there, and another one to that point there. That'll give us the tip of our dagger shape. And if you'd like to, you can erase that portion of your neck just for clarity's sake. For the other section of the dagger, you're going to basically bring around a little curve like this. Just drop that section down. That's the actual blade portion. We can bring it up a little bit and around. I'm not actually sure what this portion's called, but there's like a little brass thing just before the handle. Again, I don't really know what it's called. And then we can follow our lines straight back for our handle portion. And I'll just cut them off at the end with a little rounded curve like this for the handle. Now you can wrap the handle in whatever material you'd like in terms of what you're drawing. In this case, I want to do a raw wood handle, so just adding in little textures basically that resemble the grain of wood. Okay, that is basically it for the sketch on this one. Class notes will be available for this one if you are a member. Otherwise, I'm going to transfer this over to some watercolor paper so we can get into painting this one. Okay, now getting into the painting section of this, I'm just going to run through my supplies quickly. I've got a carbon black, a medium grey wash, which is just carbon black mixed with water. I've got phthalo blue, just a drop mixed with some water to lighten it nicely. I've got a brown color, which I've made mixing dioxazine purple and yellow orange azo. I've got plain yellow orange azo, and I've also got Pyrrole red. Along with this, I've got 3 brushes. These are all Taklon synthetic hair brushes. Number 6, number 5, and a number 0.5 for really small details. And I've also got a glass of water just for washing the brushes out and to help blending. So as usual, we're starting off with our black shading. I'll be using the 2 larger brushes for this. The smaller one, the number 5, will be to apply the ink, and the larger brush will be used to blend. So I'm going to flip my page over just to give me a better angle to work on. And the idea of this basically is I'm going to be applying black over the top of my small lines and towards the edge of my hair like this. Coming around, bringing it nice and close to the edge there, and following the curvature of the actual bundle of hair as well, like that. Then I'll just take my blending brush and just feather that out to a grey. And just slowly work on getting a nice smooth blend. Now what this will do is create a blend from black to grey and to white for a little highlight in our hair. And you can go ahead and add just a little bit of black underneath the hair bundle in front of it. Bring that around following the curvature of your bundle of hair. And then you want to blend that out gently as well. Just feathering that edge out and bringing it to grey and into white. Now what that'll do is give you a streak of highlight through the center of your bundle of hair, and that's going to look really nice. For the inside portion of the hair here, I'll just start by adding a little bit of black to our base section there. I'll feather that out, blend it across gently, and then you can flip this around. Get a little bit of black going in the other side of it, like that. And gently blend that out and across, like that. And now you're going to repeat much the same process for the other bundles of hair. Now, one thing I want to point out is if you want to, you can leave a small white gap along the edge of your bundle. This helps separate the bundles of hair a little bit. Or in my case, I've done the one underneath it slightly more grey, so I can come in with a true black at the top of that, and that will create enough separation between the two. And just blending it up gently to get a nice smooth blend. Alright, now let's say you've already done your blend going back towards your highlight, but this area comes onto the face and you're not sure what to do. I would just add a little bit more black to my line there, where I first laid down the black for my highlight strip, like this, and then blend it in both directions. So you start by blending it towards the face with nice smooth feathering like this, then flip it around and blend it back towards your highlight portion there. That way you get a highlight and the nice smooth transition into our face there. Now, once you've done your hair in this manner and you're happy with how it's looking, you can wash your inking brush out and go into your grey wash. So in this case, it's just water diluted down black. So we're going to come into the top of our blade. I'm going to do a streak across it like that. And then I'll blend it out to white from the most solid point, leaving that solid area there. You can come down closer to the tip and do another one of these, leaving it more solid at the back and blending it forward to white. And then you can play around with changing angles a bit if you'd like. So you can go on a slightly different angle for the blade portion of the dagger here. Blending that out and forward like that. Now I did forget a little bit of the black shading. We're just going to come up onto our handle here and round off the edges with a bit of black, or the corner areas, and just feather that out into a nice smooth blend. And we're just going to do that for this underside or the back side of the dagger here. Okay, from here we're coming back in with our medium grey wash, and we're going to start doing some shading on the face. And there's also going to be some blue in there. So I'm going to start off by coming underneath our chin section here with our grey. Just following that line down and around. And then you can just work on blending that grey, that light grey, down onto the neck section a little bit, like this. That gives the underside of the face a little bit of structure. I like to bring a grey in on top of my ear a little bit as well. Just blend that down and around. Now we can bring in a little bit of grey for the underside of our cheek area here. So a little bit of grey like that. Feathering out the bottom edge of it, and the top side we're just going to blend it up onto the cheek area a little bit here. Now I want to darken up the underside of the eyes a little bit, so I'm just going to add a little bit of my light grey under there and darken up that section just underneath the eye, and you can do this on both sides. And I'm just going to continue working around the sort of area of the eyes and the eyebrows here to darken things up. Grey, you can go ahead and wash your brush out. And then for all of the areas that you did grey, you can come in with a little bit of your light blue color and then blend that through and over the top of your light grey wash there. This will change it and give it a slightly blue color. Now, I wasn't sure what color to do the lips on this one. I decided to do a little bit of black at the top of the lip, leaving a little white gap and just blending that down towards the bottom portion of the lip there. And then doing the same thing for our bottom lip. I think it turned out okay. Now I just washed my brush out and I'm going into my yellow color, yellow orange azo. Now I'm going to use that to do our eyes, and I'm leaving a little bit of a highlight at the top of the eye there, just a little bit. So using that yellow to do our eye color, and then we'll also use it for the handle on our sword, just solid yellow orange azo for that, like this. And you want to do all of your hairpins and hair ornaments in this yellow as well. Now it's up to you if you want to add shading and blending and detail to these. I'm going to keep them nice and simple today. I feel like the rest of the image has a nice amount of detail and shading. So these are going to be nice and simple, just plain yellow orange azo for our hairpins. After doing this with the yellow orange azo, I'm going in with my brown. This is a mix of yellow orange azo and dark Cezanne purple. I'm just coming over the top of my black shading that I did in the handle of our dagger here, following the same shape as our shading there. And then with a blending brush, I'll just lighten that color nicely as we get to the top of our handle. So it blends up from like a brown through to like a nice sandy yellow color to the top of the handle there. That's going to give it that nice wood effect. I want to use that same brown color in the bead at the end of this hairpin. And then from here, I'm washing my brush out and I'm going to go into Pyrrole Red. I'll use that to paint the little flowers at the end of this hairpin. These are like the little decorative parts of the hairpins. So I like to just use a little bit of red to paint those flowers in. Of course, you could do whatever detail you like. It doesn't have to be flowers. I just thought some little cherry blossoms would look nice. And I had a look at some traditional hairpins. A lot of them have cherry blossoms or other flowers at the end of them for those sort of pretty elements. Now, once you've done that, it's time to grab your Pyrrole Red, and we're going to add in some of the gory detail here. So coming onto your blade from our gash here, you can go ahead and add in these areas of red like this, and you can really put as much detail or gore into this as you'd like, or you can leave it without. It's completely up to you. There's no exact way of doing this. I like to leave enough to where it sort of looks somewhat realistic, but also, you know, a nice level of gore for the effect, the shock value of it. More detail, so I'll do a little bit coming out of the mouth and over the chin here. Now that is basically it for this one, so I really hope you enjoyed the outcome of this one. For those of you that requested it, I hope it answers your questions. And for the rest of you, I really hope you give this one a go. I think it's a wicked looking design. I really like these Namakubis. And, you know, maybe next time we can do a samurai or, you know, something entirely different. Alright, like I said, that's it for now, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. If you like the content that I make and you'd like to support the channel, make sure you smash that like button. And hey, while you're at it, check out one of these other great videos.